head on to our first keynote session here. Urban sustainability has become a primary goal for many cities around the world, including Danprom, Thailand as well, and the rest of Southeast Asia. So we are very excited indeed to have with us here today Ms. Elena Boni, who is the Knowledge Management Coordinator of the United Nations, and she will be discussing the critical point on urban sustainability, a creative approach to human settlement achieving sustainable development goals. Please help us welcome her to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me this morning. I'm really excited to hear the discussion that will occur during this day. So my name is Elena Boni. I'm a Knowledge Management and Urban Development Coordinator at UN Habitat at the regional office here in Bangkok. So today I will be talking about what I call the triple C, which is cities, culture, and creativity, and how all of these come together and what's the relation between them. Next slide, please. Okay, so the question that I've been tasked to answer, which is a difficult one, is what's the role of culture and creativity in urban development? And really, how can worldwide crises, such as the current climate crisis we are in, can shape the discussion? So I've started to look at what is culture. Everyone knows what is culture, right? But how we define it. So looking at the UN, a definition is that culture can be defined as the distinct spiritual, material, intellectual, and emotional features characterizing a society. So the UN has a mandate to promote culture by developing sustainable, inclusive, and creative society. So that's the link between culture and creativity. And when we look at the link with cities, it's really about talking about creative placemaking, which is an approach focused on the power of culture and creativity to transform the life of a local community, or to make the neighborhood more attractive to people that live and work. And this is really enabled by local community engagement in artistic and cultural experiences, events, and creative projects. So we can say that culture and creativity have really untapped potential to deliver special economic and social benefit for cities and communities. And if we look at the special benefits, we can really say that culture and creativity contribute to urban regeneration, to the point that sometimes having creative business and artistic businesses in a neighborhood might lead to gentrification. And really, they make cities more attractive places for people to live and for economic activity to develop. So the quality of a public space is really important also for the creative sector to flourish. And having urban parks and open space, they really provide size to accessible, inclusive cultural participation, so for people coming together. And if we look at the economic benefit, the creative industry are really the key drivers of creative economy and represent a really important source of employment, economic growth, to the point that globally, approximately 20% of employed people aged between 15 and 29 work in the creative industries. So it's really the larger employment of youth, and also contributes to economic growth, innovation, and therefore contributing to city competitiveness and sustainability. And if we look at the social benefit, there are plenty, right? Culture and creativity contribute to a more varied and cultural diversity. And it's not a coincidence that the most ethnically diverse cities, could be New York, we will hear about more later, London, Toronto, Melbourne, and even places like you see in the right picture, like Penang in Malaysia, they are the most culturally active. They are the most culturally rich. So these things are interrelated. And culture and creativity, they can really lead to social cohesion at the neighborhood level and enable creative networks to form and create opportunity for those that are socially and economically excluded. So really, cultural diversity in city fosters creativity, inclusivity, tolerance, and participation. So what we can talk about is really the cultural power of cities. And if you look at history, for centuries, cities have been hubs of innovation and catalysts for progress. So at their core, they've been shaped by creativity, and they've become hubs for idea, interaction, innovation, and knowledge, bringing together people from different backgrounds through migration and through trade to exchange, innovate, and create. And if we look at these pictures, also what has been yesterday innovation, maybe today is a classic. So if you look at the Tour Eiffel, which at the time was one of these masterpieces of engineering in the last century, maybe today when we look at this picture, we are more focusing on the green building, right? So using the green technology to bring nature back into the city and finding solution to the climate crisis. So really responding, the question is really, what is the creative challenge in the cities? And yeah, if in the last century was engineering or public health that led to more generous roadways, materials, etc., and then it shifted to reusing abandoned industrial sites or derelict infrastructure, so on regeneration projects, today I really believe is the climate crisis. So creative solutions to the climate crisis are incredibly important. And this started already in the 80s in New York with this environmental artist. Her name was Agnes Dennis, which planted this massive wheat field in the core of Manhattan. And that was really like a provocation, a way to say, look, it is possible to grow wheat in the core of a city. And at the time was quite influential, but as we can see today, urban farming has become more and more adopted, even in Bangkok, as you see in the picture. So really using creativity to responding to the climate emergency, transforming cities for a better human future is important. And rethink really how we build cities for decades, moving away from fossil fuel-like consumption of energy and food and resources and the separation from nature. An artistic and imaginative tool is what we need to challenge this business as usual mindset and imagine and realize ways of living which are not dependent on the exploitation of people and nature. So cultural and creative actors can really help awareness to climate change and develop solutions to urban planning and mobility, for instance, fostering recycling and the reuse of products. An example that I want to bring you today from us, from Beyond Habitat, of creative placemaking is this tool that has been used for many years now to increase participatory design and creativity in urban public space design through the use of Minecraft. And through this platform, it was really important to engage youth and local community to develop safe, inclusive, and better public spaces. And when we look at this tool, we have an example also from this region to the, what is called Asia Raincraft. So Beyond Habitat has worked just a couple of years ago with an organization called the Water Agency to build and design climate and water resilient communities. And this project was piloted in Myanmar and then extended in other countries such as Vietnam and Indonesia. So it used Minecraft as an engagement platform to reach out to communities, offering a safe online platform to meet, to learn, and to share, and to design, empowering residents to tackle the water problems in their cities and implement solutions. So really going into a step-by-step approach of community engagement and design, co-design, and then in many cases leading to actual construction of these ideas, so realizing them in reality. So to conclude, even if this was a really successful example using technology, technology is not necessarily needed for creativity, right? Creativity means also finding creative solutions when there is a low budget and when there are limited resources. So really using openness, originality, and imagination as the core tools. So to conclude, I want to invite all of you to really exploit the transformative power of creativity as a catalyst for change, and to ask ourselves, how can we contribute to sustainable and inclusive urban development, because we are its future creators. So I will end with this open question for all of you. Thank you so much.